class families. Let me break it down for you.
She's not even American.
That's a very serious claim, Mr. President. Can you provide proof of that right now?
The lights were bright, the stage perfectly set, and the cameras were already rolling. The studio felt calm, almost deceptively peaceful, allowing every word to land with precision. Jazmie Crockerr sat poised, confident, hands resting neatly on the table. She looked directly into the camera, her expression calm, eyes sharp and unwavering. Her voice was steady, controlled, firm without ever needing to raise it. She wasn't here to argue. She was here to explain, to reveal, to confront the truth. The topic was serious. The new legislation being discussed threatened to raise costs for millions of working-class families. Jazmie broke it down step by step, making complex issues easy to understand. She spoke in a way that made people listen, made them consider each point carefully. The audience leaned in, some nodding, others taking notes. Her clarity and composure commanded attention. This live political debate was already becoming historic. Then everything shifted. At the far end of the table, President Donald Trump leaned forward suddenly, a motion so abrupt that even the host paused mid-sentence. In a booming voice that filled the room, he interrupted her. "She's not even American." The studio fell silent. The air felt thick, heavy. Jazmie didn't flinch. She didn't raise her voice. She allowed the silence to settle before responding, her words precise, measured. "That's a very serious claim, Mr. President. Can you provide proof of that right now?" The audience shifted in their seats. This wasn't a debate about policy anymore. It had become personal. Trump repeated his accusation, louder this time. "She's not American. She doesn't represent you." Still, he offered no evidence. Jazmie remained calm. "Mr. President," she said slowly, letting each word resonate, "you just told millions of people that I don't belong here. You said that about me. Now show proof." Trump's face tightened. He tapped the table lightly, trying to appear dominant. "She's not American. She doesn't belong here," he insisted. The host's eyes widened. Cameras hesitated. But Jazmie didn't react immediately. She let the weight of the accusation settle, then spoke clearly, carefully. "Mr. President, what you just said is exactly why many Americans feel ignored. You question my right to be here because of my skin color. That is racism, plain and simple. I was born here. I grew up here. I've spent my life serving this country. My birth certificate proves I am American. My record proves I am American. But you have no evidence to say otherwise. None. You simply dislike that someone like me is challenging you publicly." The audience shifted again. Some nodded quietly, others whispered affirmations. The tension was electric. Trump waved his hand, trying to interrupt, but Jazmie didn't stop. "This is what happens when a leader cannot defend their argument with facts," she continued. "They attack who you are instead. They focus on your identity so they don't have to answer real questions." Trump leaned closer, his tone sharper. "Look at her. Does she look like someone who represents America to you?" he demanded. Jazmie didn't flinch. She allowed the words to settle. Then, with deliberate precision, she said, "Mr. President, you can attack me, call me names, question my identity, but that doesn't change the facts. I am American. And millions of people like me belong here, regardless of your opinion." Applause began quietly, then grew steadily. The audience had shifted from shock to support. Jazmie leaned forward slightly, her voice sharpening. "If we are talking about who belongs, perhaps we should discuss your own family, Mr. President. You and Ivanka are the biological parents of Barron." Gasps echoed across the room. The host froze mid-breath. Trump's face changed. Jazmie pulled a thin folder from beneath the table and lifted it slightly so the cameras could see. "These documents raise serious questions about Barron's parentage, medical records, timelines, and matters your administration has never explained, she said calmly. Trunk's voice cracked slightly. That's nonsense. Fake news. You're lying. Jazmie leaned back, unshaken. If it's false, Mr. President, prove it. You have every resource available. Show the truth right now. She continued, methodical and composed. This isn't just about Barron. This is about power and transparency. This is about why Ivanka holds more influence in your administration than the First Lady, why she sits with world leaders speaking on behalf of the country, something no daughter in history has ever done. The audience murmured. Trunk tried to dismiss the moment, repeating his claims, but they sounded weaker now. Jazmie pressed on. You once said on national television that if Ivanka weren't your daughter, you might be dating her. You repeated the comment later. And now you expect people to ignore the unusual influence she holds in the White House. The tension in the room was almost tangible. Jazmie had not raised her voice once. She had simply laid out facts, asked questions, and let the evidence speak. You can call it a joke, but you cannot joke about my identity, she said. You cannot erase who I am with one sentence. You cannot avoid legitimate questions by raising your voice. America does not belong to one man, one family, or one race. It belongs to all of us, and no president has the authority to decide who counts as American. The room erupted in applause. Trunk attempted to interrupt, but Jazmie continued. This is what happens when a leader cannot defend arguments with facts. They attack your identity, they attack your appearance, they try to reduce you so they don't have to answer the real issue. For the first time, Trunk remained silent. The cameras stayed on Jazmie, capturing her calm, unwavering presence as the broadcast closed with her words echoing. Mr. President, you have no proof to the contrary. The moment marked the beginning of a reckoning, a demonstration that truth, courage, and accountability could face even the most powerful and emerge victorious. The room remained electric, the echo of applause still lingering. Jazmie Crockerr didn't move, didn't allow herself a single display of triumph. Her gaze remained fixed, calm, precise, and unwavering. The evidence she had laid out was more than just papers and documents, it was a statement of accountability, a force that no amount of shouting or posturing could deflect. Daniel Trunk, once the embodiment of unchecked authority, now sat frozen, the weight of exposure pressing down upon him. Jazmie leaned forward slightly, her voice low, steady, and deliberate. Mr. President, you have spent years attempting to control narratives, to shape perception, to manipulate what the public sees. But narratives without truth are hollow. And hollow narratives eventually collapse under the weight of facts. Trunk's lips trembled. He opened his mouth to respond but found no words sufficient to counter the evidence laid bare in front of him. His staff shifted nervously, realizing that the moment had escalated beyond political maneuvering, it was now a direct exposure of a system of privilege, power, and deception. Jazmie continued, unwavering. These documents, she said, sliding another folder across the table, contain emails, internal memos, and detailed logs that show actions taken to manipulate processes for personal gain. Every signature, every timestamp, every decision is verified. Every attempt to mislead Congress, every effort to cover up, is documented. And every action points directly to you. The room was silent, save for the low hum of cameras and murmured whispers. Committee members exchanged glances, reporters leaned closer, and even Trunk's closest aides began to shift uncomfortably in their seats. Every person present understood the magnitude of the moment. History was being witnessed in real time.